Hey free to play gang, welcome back to another video. So a few content creators have covered the top 3 DPS Espers that they are using, the top 3 fighters to be precise. And I think that's a really interesting idea, and I also want to give my own opinion about what are my top 3 fighter DPS Espers. Now the reason why I say DPS fighter, or rather fighter DPS Espers, is because not all fighters need to be strictly DPS based. You can definitely build them tanky, you can definitely build them more for farming purposes, which not necessarily have to mean full DPS builds. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm going to go through 3 of my favorite DPS Espers that I think can be quite useful for you as well. So Louis is actually the first on my list. Okay, this isn't any order by the way, okay? So Louis is just one of the few Espers on my list who is one of my favorite fighter Espers. Okay, so top 3 in my own box. Now the reason why Louis is so good, right, is because his first skill lands a Seer debuff, and this allows a lot of interesting things to happen because Seer increases the damage received by 25%. So this means that using Louis in any kind of PvE content is going to make your runs a little bit faster, which, okay, so my channel revolves around a lot of statistics and a lot of efficiency. So this is one way that you can gain that efficiency. And of course there are other Espers like Leon, he's a rare Esper who is pretty free to play, who has a Seer debuff as well. But I feel like Phoenix Arrows, Seer on your first skill, that is pretty remarkable. And not only that, right, he attacks the enemy 3 times, so the chance of you landing a Seer is actually pretty high. And apart from that, he also does true damage based on his own attack and the target's max HP, which can also be increased to 30% if he lands a crit. So he is a crit whore to say the least. He is very powerful. Okay, so the only issue that I have with him is his third skill, which, it does bleed. I don't think bleed is really that good of a debuff because its scaling is quite poor. But with that said, it does 9 attacks, which is incredible for clearing wave 1 and wave 2 of let's say Ritual Miracles. So he is very efficient for me in speeding up my runs. Now the next Esper that is on my list is going to be Chloe. I think she's also, very similar to Louis, right? They both do random DPS. So as you can see on her third skill, this is a random attack. And on her second skill, 4 strikes at random enemies again. So she does a lot of random DPS, and that is good for 2 reasons. Okay, so number 1, it's really good for wave clearing. And number 2, if there are fewer enemies around, she's gonna do a lot more damage, very similar to Louis. So in my mind, to be honest, although we haven't really talked about holo battles yet, but I do feel like Louis and Chloe are going to be really good for holo battles because, 3v3, your randomness is going to be less random and it's going to be more concentrated on 3 different enemies. So I feel like they have a lot more potential because of this update. But aside from that, she is just really strong at dealing damage and really good at stealing buffs. So her damage also scales according to buffs, which is what she does over here as well. So her kit is very well rounded and I really enjoy using her a lot. I use her in practically all my Ritual Miracle runs, and I might potentially use her in holo battles as well. And finally, the third Esper on my list is not actually going to be Lin Xiao. I feel like she's too much of a hack, and it's not going to be Tang Yun as well because I don't feel like I have enough use for him. It's obviously going to be Drew. Okay, so this is pretty clear. If you followed me for the longest of time, you understand that Drew is my guy. So the reason why Drew is so good is because his first skill reduces the cooldown of his third skill, which is what makes him really so powerful, especially in wave clearing. Okay, so now the reason why I unequipped him with relics is because I have other Espers right now that can help me do wave clearing a lot better, so such as Louis and Chloe. They are very good at that. So his third skill can deal upwards of 70,000 damage per proc. It's really insane. His DPS is very good, so he's quite good for Ritual Miracles and PvP if used correctly. And obviously his second skill here, right, Defense Break, this is so good for bossing as well. So this is so powerful for Ritual Miracles, not just powerful for Kronos, but also really powerful for Apep. So these are the 3 Espers, and okay, maybe I can show you for example, right, so how are they so good for Ritual Miracles and in terms of wave clearing. I know some of you guys might have seen this before, but I'm just going to show it again just for the sake of whoever has not actually seen it yet. So let's do Kronos, right? So we're going to use Louis over here and Chloe, and as you can see, right, so Louis increases the attack of all of your allies in the Sonic and Ritual Miracles by 30%, so that's going to improve our runtime as well. So let's just take a look at, oh my gosh. So let's just take a look at this and see how it works. So we're going to do one single run, and you can see just how powerful they can be in terms of wave clearing. So yeah, Sander goes first, then Lin Xiao, and here's where Chloe does the sweeping, right? And here again, Chloe does an AoE, and Louis does the finishing touch. So the thing is, I think Louis has a little bit more of limelight in Apep, so we're going to take a look at that after this. But yeah, so as you can see over here, so now Sander's going to do a little bit of damage, and hopefully, okay, just hopefully Louis lands his Seer, so that we can see that taking place. Yeah, it may not be such a good idea for Louis to move so far behind, because then we are kind of wasting Seer debuffs, right? So we didn't manage to proc the Seer over there, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, probably it might be a better idea to run Louis slightly faster. Okay, that was a little bit of a YOLO run, but we did it anyway. So let's take a look at Apep. Okay, so pretty much the same thing. I'm using Louis for his attack lead, and then we have Chloe here as well. So these two are kind of like staples. And yeah, okay, so back to Kronos, right? I understand it's kind of awkward for me to use a wind type in Kronos. However, I do feel like he's still very useful because he does multi-hits, which means that he is very likely to, you know, land his debuffs, even though, you know, he's kind of like wrongly attuned as opposed to Kronos, or rather weaker attuned. So okay, so we're gonna see how Louis takes his turn here and what he can do. So look at this. He's gonna do a huge AoE and bam 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 bam, clears the wave like that, and that's it. So we're gonna go right into Apep, and it's just basically the same thing, right? So that's why I really enjoy using them so much. They are so good, so powerful at wave clearing. And there you go, see, Seer debuffs, very nice. So that is going to allow us to land a little bit more damage, right? Deal a little bit more damage, especially when Lin Xiao takes a turn, by the way. So when you see Lin Xiao takes a turn, she's gonna hit for a lot. So that's 41.9k. And I don't even think, I think that was on a counter attack, wasn't it? I didn't really pay attention. Yeah, that was probably a counter attack. If you see Lin Xiao using her second skill, but we can't see that anymore because she was stripped. But yeah, so I guess that's it, right? That's it for Apep. We'll take a look at Holo Battles again when we can finally participate in it, which is probably going to be next week. But yeah, so these are my favorite fighter DPS Espers, and I feel like they are really strong for a lot of different content, right? So they are also really good in 12-8, I've talked about this before, so story 12-8. And they're also really good for Sonic Miracles. They are perfect for Sonic Miracles. Okay, there's like some gardening happening outside my house right now, so I truly apologize for that. But anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. So this has been the 3 fighter DPS Espers that I enjoy using the most. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. And subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Dayi Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.